Cloud. So Angela, if you want to take us away.
Oh, great. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Angela Snyder. I am one of the new academic advisors in the TRIO office. And I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'm hoping, oh, there's some more people trickling in. I'm hoping that you guys can get some good information from our seminar today. This is called How to Be a Successful Online Student. So as you guys know, we try to put together seminars that are helpful for you to be, your best while you're here on campus. And one of the big topics this year, obviously, is how to be successful while navigating the online course schedule, that type of thing. So we thought this would be a great resource for you guys, and we're hoping that you get a little something from it. I do have the amazing Lauren Clifford here with us today. She's one of my colleagues, and she's going to be helping me out monitoring the chat. We like these to be as interactive as possible. So if you, are comfortable and you want to, throw something in the chat, whether it's like a suggestion or a question that you might have, please feel free to do that. I will reiterate what Sarah said earlier, that this is going to be recorded and it's going to be available for review on YouTube and also on our Blackboard page. So if you're uncomfortable with that, then feel free to just, sit back and listen. You can turn your video off or whatever, but we do love interaction, and I would love to hear from you guys. I'm going to be asking you at a few different times throughout the presentation to use your thumbs up or thumbs down button. So if you want to get familiar with that, you can just hover your cursor over the bottom of the Zoom screen, and there should be a thumbs up, thumbs down towards the right-hand side for that. So we are hoping to hear a little bit from you, but I certainly understand if you prefer to be a listener today. So most of these suggestions come from an incredible resource that we have here on campus, Dr. Jeremiah Reardon. He has been teaching online courses for well over 20 years, and he makes it a regular practice to poll his most successful students after the semester. And these are answers that come straight from the students, guys. These are your colleagues. This is what they're doing to be successful. So he's really just sort of distilled the important points for us and given it to us here. So this is a really great opportunity for you to just see what other students are doing and take what you need from this, right? I'm not expecting that you're going to take fervent notes and use every single thing I say on every slide, but maybe you're going to see 1, 2, maybe 3 things that you can take away from this presentation and implement it afterwards. I want you to be thinking about your own personal learning style. At this point now, you guys are in college, you certainly know a little bit about what works and what doesn't for you. Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? Have that in mind as we're going through this presentation so you can have a few key takeaways that are really important for you, okay? Just by show of thumbs up or thumbs down, let's take a peek here and see how many of you, this is your very first time opting to take an online course. If you can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. All right, I see some hands here. Yeah, so for a lot of us, this is our first time actually choosing to do an online course start to finish. And we all know that it takes a different skill set than showing up to class and taking notes and going home and applying that information, right? It's a whole new ball game, and that's exactly why we're here today. I'm really hoping to give you a few tips to help you navigate this uncertain, uncharted territory here. So our first recommendation is to start with a dedicated workspace, you guys. And I'm not saying you have to have an office, a full room set up in your home. That's just not possible for a lot of us, right? But maybe you can get a certain nook in your room cleared out and ready for work. This is awesome because studies show that if you have a dedicated workspace, you're more likely to be successful in setting up the habit, the ritual of doing productive work regularly, right? So you have a place that you can go and sit down free of distraction where you can actually get something done. It can be as simple as setting up a folding table in the corner of your room, or a tray table, or you're clearing off your side desk area, whatever it is. But if you have that space available to you and okay, I'm looking at my calendar, I have to do this work today, I know right where I'm going to do it. It just eliminates some of that problem solving. If you have to frantically look for a place to get work done in your house during your scheduled time for that class, that makes it a little bit difficult. So set yourself up for success by having a dedicated workspace. That's a great idea. Second point here, which is super important and flows nicely off of that first one, is getting organized. Physical space for sure. We just talked about that. We want to have a nice, clean area free of distractions. I would also, recommend shutting off your phone, putting it in airplane mode, whatever you have to do when it's time to get work done, so that you're not distracted. But also your digital space, you guys, with your online courses, this is going to be, honestly, it's one of my favorite points that we're going to talk about today. And I really recommend taking notes right now or figuring out how you're going to do this. Organizing your classes. You're going to want to have a file folder for each of your courses that you're taking this semester, either on your PC or your laptop, wherever you're doing your work. Name the folder the name of your class. Psych 101, boom, make a folder, Psych 101. The first thing you're going to do is save your syllabus from Blackboard into your file on your computer. This makes it so that you always have available to you your roadmap to success. You don't have to depend on internet connection in order to get the assignment information. You have it right there in front of you. And then what you're going to do is look at that syllabus, like I said, as a roadmap for success, and set up the rest of your subfolders. So each main course has one folder, and then you're going to break it down and have subfolders within that for each important part of the course. So if the syllabus tells you, okay, you're going to have homework assignments, quizzes, tests, and readings, then I want you to make a subfolder for all of those things: homework assignments, quizzes, tests, readings. To the extent that you're able to download whatever information you have to download ahead of time and save it into the appropriate file, I would recommend doing that. This prevents, that lag time of like, oh, okay, I have to go and find this reading, download it, whatever. To the extent that you have like online information that you're going to be responsible for, if you can save it to your computer ahead of time, that just better prepares you for when it's your dedicated work time to go and sit down and actually get it done and not have to waste the time finding the information that you're supposed to read first. It's also great because when you have to access your quizzes or your assignments, your answers, whatever it is, Blackboard discussion posts, you'll know right where to go to get that. It's not like you're saving everything into Word on your computer and then having to read through every file to see which one is the right one you're attaching, right? And if it's helpful for you, I would use dates when you're saving your information. So, homework assignment and then the date on it so that you know exactly which one you need to be posting. All right, another important one, guys, is learning the technology. For this semester especially, a lot of professors are using online texts or online resources for readings and that type of thing. If your syllabus tells you you're going to be reading a textbook, from this app or what have you, you need to take some time ahead of time to make sure that you know how to navigate that app. Have you signed in? Do you have your login information? Are you able to access the reading that you're supposed to digest that night? You know what I'm saying? So you want to really take some time to make sure you're familiar with that. Have you signed into Blackboard? Do you know how to navigate that? If you have to use the discussion board, have you done that before? Do you need a little bit of help? If so, you can contact the professor or contact our office. We're happy to help you figure out how to navigate those resources so that you can be successful. We don't want you troubleshooting technology issues when your assignment is due, right? We want to make sure that we're like front loading that information. Ooh, this one is a fun one too, you guys. It's hard not to break out into Dolly Parton's famous song here, but we really want to make sure that you are building time into your schedule for each of your courses, because a lot of, the courses that you're taking are mostly online, and a lot of them are not meeting at specific times, meaning it's up to you to get the work done. You really need to schedule accordingly. We say there's about 3 to 5 hours for every 3 credit course per week at a minimum. And this is where you really need to take into account your learning style. If you are better able to, and also your other obligations, right? Are you working full time? Do you have family obligations? Look at your realistic time schedule and figure out how you're going to break it out. Are you somebody who can do really well with sitting down one time a week for 4 to 5 hours and, you know, reading through your material and taking care of all of your assignments one time a week? Maybe that sounds great. You could do that easily on a weekend day, right? Or maybe it's not so easy for you to dedicate 4 to 5 hours on a weekend day because you have a family or you're working or whatever, and you need to break it down into smaller chunks in the evening. You can certainly do that, but you just need to have an awareness of your schedule, right? So it just takes a little bit of planning. You need to make sure to block off time for each of your courses on your calendar. We recommend color coding your calendar so that you can take a peek at your week and the colors are, you know, obviously aligned with whatever courses you're taking, and you can just look and get a visual idea of what your week is going to look like. Also here, we want to make sure that you're taking into account accelerated courses. So that would require more time per week, right? Because you're getting all of that information, but in half the time. So it makes sense that you would have to spend double the time each week on that course. So just make sure that you are keeping track of that as you're going through and setting up your schedules. Another one with your calendaring is the important dates. So, one of the best tips that we received is making sure that you build important test dates and assignments into your calendar. So whatever calendar you guys are using regularly, Google Calendar, your iPhone app, what have you, it's a good idea to go through your syllabus and look at the assignments or the tests, whatever it is that are worth more points, because the syllabus will break it down and tell you what percentage of your grade is associated with each of those tasks, and build those larger percentage tasks into your calendar. And we recommend you set like reminders, right? So if you have a big test coming up on a certain date, make sure you start by setting a 2-week beforehand reminder, and then maybe a 1-week reminder, and then maybe a 2-day, a 1-day, you know what I'm saying? So that you can have time to study for those big exams. Build that into your calendar. I would set recurring appointments. So if you are setting up your calendar for your class and you know that you like to learn from those bigger chunks each week, then just make a calendar that you are going to stick to for the full semester and say, okay, Saturday mornings are always my morning for Psych 101 or English 101, whatever it is. And just know that that's your dedicated class time, and it's unshakable, right? You make it part of your calendar, your family, your friends, everybody knows that you're unavailable in that time. This is where the self-starting skills really come into play. You have to be disciplined, and that's not easy. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for a lot of people to, you know, have that right off the bat. So it's definitely a skill that you're going to have to work on. And, you know, we recommend using these calendar services as an easy way to do that. I have put a link in here for you to find, if you don't have an app that you're already enjoying, for you to find one. I can put that in the chat at the end of this discussion, and I can also make it available to you guys on Blackboard afterwards. Let's get a little bit of participation going right now, because I don't want anybody to fall asleep. Can we use a show of hands, either thumbs up, thumbs down? Who is already using a calendar app that they're loving? Ooh, I like it. Okay, I see some thumbs up. If anybody wants to share which calendar app is really working for them in the chat, that would be awesome. I always think it's nice to see what our peers are doing, what's working for you guys, what isn't. You know, learn from each other. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. So if you feel comfortable and you'd like to share, please go ahead and do that in the chat. But I'm glad to hear you guys are already rocking and rolling with some good calendar apps that you like. Another major point here is to check your email daily, guys. This is your MWCC email. It's really important that you check this daily, because it's the main form of communication for all college email. All official messaging for you from the college is going to come from this email, and that includes from your professors. So it's just imperative that you're checking this, especially with online courses. If the professor wants to send out a blast email to the students to let them know about any changes to the syllabus or any issues, it's going to be via email. So you want to make sure that you're checking it so you don't fall behind the 8 ball, right? And you're also really easily able to link that to your personal email if you'd like to. So that's something that you can do, so you can get it on your phone, you get the alerts, it kind of never gets away from you that way, because I know we're all getting our emails on our phone these days. Okay, this is a super fun one, you guys. Engagement. Engagement is important in online courses. You may think like, oh, I'm just going to sit back and, quietly observe this class. But engagement is really important because it better helps you to understand the material. If you don't understand something, if you have a question, please speak up. The professors want to hear from you. They want to hear your questions. And the thing is, you're not taking this course in a vacuum. If you have the question, it's likely that one of your classmates has the question as well. So if you're able to start that dialogue, especially in a way where your classmates can see it also, that's really helpful for everybody. Everybody learns from that. So please don't just be quiet and try to figure it out on your own. If you have a question, speak up. If you're uncomfortable asking in the class-wide forum, feel free to just email your professor. But the discussion boards and the chat features are awesome for, the interaction between you and your classmates. And sometimes taking online courses can feel a little bit lonely, and we want to encourage the discussion between you guys so that you can get to know one another and form those, those alliances, so to speak, for these classes, because that's really important. And also, the greater the engagement, the greater the understanding of the material. Studies have shown that if you speak up once, if you just ask one question, you're more likely to participate in and engage in future classroom discussions, which enhances your understanding of the material. So it's kind of like breaking that seal. You just have to ask one question, and it helps you to become more comfortable with the forum and around your peers, and it helps you to actually understand the material better. So I definitely would suggest doing that. Excuse me. Another thing, which you can do if you feel comfortable, is introduce yourself to the professor. Take a few minutes to send off a quick email, let him or her know, who you are and why you're excited to take their course. I think a little bit of that personalized communication can go a really long way. If something were to happen a little bit later in the semester, there was confusion of some sort, you already have a baseline relationship with that professor. You're more likely to feel more comfortable approaching them for questions, and they're more likely to understand, like, what's going on. Oh, I know, Jeremy, let me help him out with this, or what have you. So it's just a good idea. If that's something you feel comfortable doing, we certainly recommend that as well. Okay, I think I've said this a few times already, but I'm going to drive it home here. Start with the syllabus. The syllabus is your roadmap to success. It tells you everything you need to know about the course. It literally gives you step-by-step how to be successful in this course. It's going to break down what, how much each assignment is worth to your final grade. It's literally giving you the steps that you need to take to be successful. So we say you need to read all of your readings every week with the course, that you are assigned, because if you get behind 1 week, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed. Those reading assignments compound by a lot each week. So we want to make sure that we're reading every week the stuff that is given for that class. And like I said, it starts with the syllabus. I think a solid understanding of the syllabus is a great place for you to start. Can I just see, using the thumb up and thumb down feature, how many of you have already read the syllabi for your courses? Yay. Oh, I love that, you guys. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are on the right track. You're going to be great. Oh, this is a really fun one too, you guys. We have got to be using our cut and paste feature. This is old school, but it really goes a long way. When your assignments, require discussion board participation or what have you, we recommend that you actually write out your answer first, either in Google Docs or Microsoft Word, and you can save it there. And the reason that we recommend you doing that is twofold. First of all, it's got awesome spell check and, you know, those features that help you with your common grammar mistakes. Always a good idea to have an extra set of eyes on that before you're hitting publish, but also because you can save it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of people drafting these big, long, thoughtful discussion board posts, and then they go and post it. They go to post it and it's gone, whether it was a glitch in their internet, you know, something timed out on them, and they lost all of their work. So by doing it first in, you know, Google Docs or Microsoft Word, you're really going to be preventing any of those issues. Plus, you already have your information saved. This is where I'm going to go back to one of the previous points I made and tell you to, you know, save it in your discussion board subfolder of that course. So if you ever need to, you can go back and reference that. Whether it's, you know, a professor might say, oh, I didn't see that you know, chimed in on that topic, but you were supposed to, or what have you. You have that, you know, available for your record. Just keep your records. That's always a good suggestion. Excuse me. Oh, one of the last ones here is the golden rule. And I know this probably isn't an issue for you guys, but we do have to say it. Always do your own work. Plagiarizing is a real issue for folks these days, especially because of the plethora of information available at our fingertips. But I have to tell you, as technology advances, so do the professors' ways of understanding whether or not you're plagiarizing. So there are programs and different tools that the professors can use that will tell them, without them even know, you know, that you guys are not using your own work here. So it's really in your best interest to just do what I know you guys are already doing, but do your own work. Do not plagiarize from, you know, do not take work from other places and not cite it. You know, it's really important that you are doing your own work because the repercussions are just unpleasant. It can start by failing the assignment, you can fail the class, and then, I mean, you can be having to talk to the dean about getting, you know, removed from school. We definitely don't want that. So we want to remind you again, just do your own work. That's how you're going to be the most successful. Showing us what you know is really the best way to go there. And lastly, I wanted to send you guys this link, which I'll copy and paste and put in the comments right now, but it's a little quiz on how to know what kind of a learner you are. You know, I've talked a little bit about how we have had a certain experience with schooling so far in our life, and we can learn from that for sure. But taking this little quiz will tell you, you know what, you're more of a visual learner, or you're more of an audio learner, or kinesthetic learner. And it gives you some tips like, okay, if we already know this about you, then here are some tips on how to be most successful in the future. And I just thought it would be an interesting little thing to provide you guys, just in case you haven't really explored that at all. You guys can sort of get a feel for what kind of a learner you are and what that means for you as far as setting up your calendar, setting up your work habits. So that is the end of the presentation that I have for you guys today. Let me just see here, how many of you feel like you have at least one thing that you think you can do, one tangible task that you can do, oh, I see a baby, after this presentation to help you be more successful this semester? Oh, okay, I see a hand. Anybody else think they have one thing at least that they can do after this presentation to help themselves be more successful?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the suggestions for taking like all the important dates on the syllabus and putting it into the to your calendar, because I've been doing just weeklies, but maybe ahead of time is just a better setup for tests and quizzes.
Yes, you know, that's such a great point, Brenda. Thanks for bringing it up, because we can sometimes get sort of tunnel vision, right? We're like, okay, I'm hitting the ground running. What am I doing this week? But we forget that a week and a half from now, I have this big mid-semester test. And breaking down your studying into smaller chunks is definitely going to be more digestible for you. It's going to help you be more prepared when the time comes. But to that end, I wanted to remind you, I meant to do it in the beginning, that my colleague Lauren is putting on an awesome set of seminar series this week called Proactively Planning Your Semester. And she has all kinds of tips and tricks on how to set up your calendar, you know, all of the actual tactical things that you need to do. So I would recommend definitely trying to sit in on one of those sessions that she has. There's a bunch on the calendar. You can look at the last e-letter that was sent out last Thursday morning, and it lays all of those out for you. But definitely, that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that.
Angelica, did you want to share what you were thinking of trying first?
I want to try getting the calendar too, and then writing the most important like test dates off the syllabus and stuff, so I know exactly when the tests are and when I can be prepared.
Absolutely. Awesome.
That's a great idea. Another point that I meant to mention, I'm not sure if I glazed over it, is when you guys have big like papers that are due or tests or what have you, don't forget to add to your calendar tutoring times. So if you're gonna, you know, if you see a tutor regularly, make sure that's on your calendar. But also if you need additional help ramping up towards those bigger dates, whether it's a test or a paper that's due, build that into your schedule so that when the time comes, you're not like, oh, I really would like to submit this to the Writing Center, but I don't have time to submit it and then get it back. Make sure with your reminders, you know, with your 1 week to due date reminder or something like that, you put a little thing in that tells you to send this off to the Writing Center or get in touch with our writing tutor or our math tutor so that you can get a few of those sessions in before it's time for that due date.
Yeah, and definitely I appreciate the plug, but if getting organized with your assignments, definitely that's what those four workshops are focusing on. They are all the same. It's just 4 times so that you guys can find whatever fits for you. And I agree, you know, finding one of these tasks, because Angela highlighted so many great things throughout this presentation. I don't know about you guys, but I always am over ambitious and I want to do them all. So yeah, pick 1 or 2 that you can focus on and make that your goal. AJ, did you have 1 or 2 that you wanted to start with, or are you still thinking?
No, I'm still thinking.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's exactly right. Pick some place to start. You don't have to overhaul everything all at once.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that most of this information, like I mentioned, came from our professor, Dr. Jeremiah Reardon, who did a video on this, and we can link that up to YouTube as well. This is also going to be recorded, so you'll be able to access this video, you know, later if you wanted to go back and re-watch or re-listen to either his presentation or mine. You'll be able to do that. Are there any other questions today? Comments?
Thank you guys so much for attending. Don't forget, Sarah did post a link in the chat. It's just a quick little bit of feedback for us if you guys can do that before you head out. We'll still be here for a minute if you have individual questions as well.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate that.